Let's be honest. You've been trying to read her mind, haven't you? You've been walking on eggshells, second guessing every text, every glance, every subtle shift in her tone, hoping you're doing the right thing. And yet, there's this nagging feeling that no matter how much effort you put in, the outcome always feels just beyond your grasp. Here's the truth that no one will tell you: women don't reward desperate attempts or predictable behavior. They respond to clarity, confidence, and emotional presence. If she's doing one very specific thing right now, it's a signal louder than any word she could ever say. And if you recognize it, you're already ahead of 90% of the men out there. The first time you notice her acting in this way, it may seem subtle. You might think it's nothing. Maybe she's just polite. Maybe she's just nice. But what you're seeing is far deeper. When a woman invests attention, energy, and time into you in ways that feel intentional, not forced, that's a reflection of her unconscious evaluation. Every smile, every tease, every slight lean toward you is not casual. She's revealing trust. And trust in a woman's world is more valuable than gold. Think about it. She doesn't give this lightly. She measures, observes, and tests in ways most men never even notice. You've probably heard men say things like, if she texts me back, she likes me. Or, if she laughs at my jokes, I've won her over. That's child's play, that's surface level thinking. The kind of signals that truly indicate she's emotionally drawn, that she's creating mental space for you in her life, are subtle. They're quiet moments where she chooses you over distraction, presence over convenience, engagement over passivity. And when that happens, when she actively prioritizes you without pressure, without games, that's when you've already won the first most critical battle, because what you've really been fighting for all along isn't attention, it's alignment, it's a resonance that can't be faked. And once it appears, it changes the dynamic completely. But here's where most men blow it: they see her signals and they panic, they overanalyze, overcommit, or worse, they retreat. And that's the irony. The moment she leans in, the moment she's quietly signaling that she's invested, is the moment most men misinterpret. She's not demanding, she's not testing in a cruel sense. She's observing whether you can match her energy, her subtle investment, her emotional honesty. If you flinch, you lose ground. If you match it with calm, confident reciprocity, you've already won more than just her attention. You've earned her respect. You need to understand that these moments aren't transactional. This isn't a checklist. This is the core of female psychology. Women are drawn to men who can hold their own emotional weight without needing constant reassurance, men who can read her signals and respond with presence rather than panic. That's why when she does something that seems small, insignificant, even innocent, it can actually be the biggest indicator of her emotional alignment with you. And when you finally realize what she's doing and why, you'll see that the game isn't about conquest. It's about awareness, and awareness is the silent power most men never develop. The reason most men fail in relationships isn't because they aren't attractive or successful or charming. It's because they don't understand what a woman really wants. And I don't mean the surface level cliche stuff you've been fed since high school. I mean the deep subconscious patterns that drive her desire, her loyalty, and her trust. Women are constantly evaluating men, not consciously, but instinctively, and they respond to signals of emotional stability, decisiveness, and clarity. The moment she gives you any of these signals, she's silently saying, I see you, I trust you, I'm investing in you. And if you recognize it, that's the moment you've already won. Notice how she behaves when she's relaxed around you, not when she's trying to impress or when she's on her best behavior, but when she's comfortable, unguarded, and unself-conscious. This is where the truth emerges. Her attention becomes natural, not forced. Her laughter isn't performative, it's genuine. Her gestures aren't calculated, they're spontaneous. And every man who isn't paying close attention will miss it. He'll think she's just being friendly or she's being polite. That's the trap, because what you're seeing in those moments isn't casual. It's a signal that she's prioritizing your presence emotionally. And that's priceless. Here's what most men don't realize. When a woman is investing this way, she's not doing it for validation. She's doing it because she's evaluating long term potential. She's subconsciously asking, does this man have the emotional intelligence, the strength, the patience to match me? And every word you speak, every calm reaction, every moment you resist panic is her answer. You can't fake it, you can't force it. And if you respond correctly, if you match her calm, her presence, her intentionality, you're no longer chasing, you're leading. And leadership in this emotional arena isn't about control, it's about consistency. Most men try to accelerate the process. They overext, overanalyze, or overcommit. And here's the irony: when you do that, you destroy the very thing she's giving you freely. Because women can sense imbalance. They can sense desperation. They can sense when you're trying to force a reaction rather than earn alignment. But if you stay steady, if you hold your own space and remain emotionally grounded, the energy she's already offering will naturally amplify. She will lean in, not out of obligation, not out of strategy, but because your presence creates comfort, intrigue, and safety simultaneously. And that, my friend, is magnetic. You need to understand this deeply. Women measure energy, not words. They respond to calmness, decisiveness, and emotional weight, not to endless explanations or pleas for attention. So, when she's actively engaging with you, intentionally prioritizing you in her mental and emotional world, you've already won what most men chase their entire lives: trust, presence, and authentic investment. And the kicker, most men never notice it, and those who do rarely know how to respond. But when you do, when you finally internalize it, the game changes. You're no longer a participant in a guessing game, you're the anchor she unconsciously gravitates toward. What most men fail to grasp is that attraction isn't about grand gestures, expensive gifts, or over the top declarations. It's about subtle, almost invisible cues that women send and even fewer men notice. The moment she's doing something that seems small or innocent, it often carries far more weight than anything you could say. Every glance, every laugh, every tiny shift in energy is part of a silent conversation that most men are completely blind to. And if you learn to see it, you've already stepped into a realm where most men can only dream of entering. Think about the moments when she reaches out, not because she has to, but because she wants to. When she initiates contact, texts you first without prompting, or even casually mentions something about her day, she's signaling emotional investment. And here's the critical part. She's doing it on her terms. She's not testing you in a manipulative way. She's subtly showing you that your presence matters to her. This is the exact opposite of what most men interpret. Most men dismiss it as politeness or friendship, missing the fact that she's handing you the most valuable currency in female psychology: intentional attention. Now, understand this. Attention is powerful, but presence is even more potent. When a woman gives you her attention, she's essentially evaluating whether you can meet her energy, whether you can hold space for her without needing constant validation. And the men who fail this test don't fail because they aren't desirable. They fail because they react too quickly, too emotionally, or too predictably. Women crave a man who can be steady, who can listen without overthinking, who can engage without clinging. When she sees that in you, she doesn't just like you, she starts imagining a future where your stability is a foundation she can trust. Here's the nuance most men completely miss. Emotional signals are layered. She might smile at your jokes, but the real indicator isn't laughter. It's eye contact, micro expressions, and the subtle way her energy mirrors yours. She might compliment you casually, but the deeper truth isn't how much she remembers. Details you mentioned days or weeks ago, these are the fingerprints of her subconscious evaluation. And when she's doing this consistently, when she's showing that level of awareness and care, she's silently saying, I see you, I value you, you matter. And if you grasp this, you've already won what most men chase endlessly: authentic connection. Most men make the mistake of overcomplicating things. They assume attraction is a puzzle with a hidden formula. when in reality, it's a pattern of energy, attention, and emotional reciprocity. Women don't fall for lines, they fall for presence. They don't chase, they gravitate. And the moment you recognize that she's gravitating toward you, the dynamic shifts. You're no longer desperate to impress. You're aligned with a woman who is already drawn to you emotionally. And that, my friend, is a victory that no amount of strategy, manipulation, or effort can replicate. The harsh truth most men never admit is this: women don't fall for men who simply chase. They fall for men who understand the subtle rhythm of attraction, who recognize her silent signals, who respond without panic, without neediness, without overthinking. And the moment she gives you one of these signals, something that seems almost accidental, you need to see it for what it is: a doorway into a connection so rare, so potent, that most men will never even know it existed. And the irony is, this doorway only opens for men who remain calm, steady, and perceptive enough to notice. Think about how she behaves when she's genuinely comfortable with you, not just polite, not just smiling, but fully herself. Maybe she shares something personal without over explaining. Maybe she teases in a way that's playful but meaningful. Maybe she touches lightly, casually, in moments that feel natural. These aren't coincidences, these are the signs of trust, of emotional alignment, of investment. She's saying without words, I'm letting you in, you're safe, you matter to me. And if you interpret these moments correctly, you've already won the invisible battle most men fight their whole lives, earning a woman's unguarded emotional attention. Most men get this wrong because they confuse signal with demand. They see her closeness and assume they must act, overcompensate, or escalate. They mistake trust for entitlement. And in doing so, they destroy the very thing she's offering freely: her comfort, her attention, her emotional presence. Women are not testing you for sport, they're calibrating for alignment. She's asking herself, does he have the patience, the presence, the self assurance to hold this space without pressure? And the men who succeed aren't louder, flashier, or more aggressive. They're steady, observant, and emotionally intelligent. Here's the unspoken rule: women invest in men who mirror their emotional maturity, not in men who chase validation. She notices your tone, your energy, your response to her subtle signals. Every reaction you have, whether you stay grounded or panic, whether you respond with clarity or confusion, communicates more than words ever could. And the moment she senses alignment, that's when the shift occurs. She's no longer evaluating from a distance. She's leaning in emotionally, mentally, even subconsciously, because you've met her unspoken standard. That's the victory few men recognize. Presence and steadiness beat action and effort every single time. Understand this deeply. Women don't fall for men who try to win them. They fall for men who earn alignment. And the subtle actions she takes, the small gestures, the glimpses of trust, the casual prioritization of you in her world, these are your clues. If you respond with calm confidence, if you mirror her energy and respect her emotional investment, you've already secured something far more powerful than attraction. You've earned her genuine regard. And make no mistake, genuine regard is the foundation for desire, loyalty, and emotional intimacy. It's rare, it's precious, and it's yours to claim if you recognize it. By now, you probably feel a shift in your thinking. You're starting to notice patterns, signals, subtleties that most men overlook. And that's exactly the point. The men who understand female psychology aren't the ones who try harder. They're the ones who notice more. They see what's invisible. They feel what's unspoken. And when a woman starts doing something small yet consistent, they recognize it immediately. That small, consistent thing, whether it's a laugh, a casual compliment, or even a text that shows she's thinking of you, carries more weight than any grand gesture could because it's real. It's voluntary and it's intentional. Here's the kicker most men never see: women invest emotionally before they commit fully. That means every subtle signal, every tiny act of attention is a test of alignment. She's asking herself, does he match my energy? Can he handle my presence without panicking or overcompensating? And the men who fail these quiet tests don't fail because they're unattractive. They fail because they don't understand the rules of emotional equilibrium. She's giving you clues, little breadcrumbs of trust, and most men either ignore them or try to force outcomes too quickly. But the man who sees these moments for what they are, moments of trust, patience, and alignment, he's the one who's already won. Notice how she behaves when she's not trying to impress. The way she opens up about her thoughts, the way she lets her guard down, the way she subtly seeks your opinion or presence. All of this is a form of investment. And this investment is a rare currency. She doesn't hand it out freely. She's measuring, observing, and testing whether you are capable of holding space for her emotionally. When she chooses to share that space, she's signaling something profound, that she values you, that she trusts you, and that she's allowing herself to lean in emotionally. Most men miss this. They see it as casual attention, but in reality, it's far more valuable than any effort, charm, or manipulation. Here's the ultimate truth. The moment a woman is doing this for you consistently, she is silently prioritizing you in a world full of distractions. She is granting you access to her emotional sphere, a space she doesn't give lightly, and your response determines everything. You don't escalate, you don't panic, you don't overthink. You mirror her energy with calm confidence, you match her presence without needing constant validation. And when you do, something shifts. She no longer evaluates. You've already passed the test. You've won the invisible game most men are too blind to even see. So pay attention. Every small gesture, every subtle alignment, every voluntary moment she chooses you, it's a signal. It's a signal that you've moved beyond the surface, beyond the chase, beyond the uncertainty. And if you recognize it, if you respond with emotional clarity and grounded confidence, you've already won something far more valuable than attraction. You've earned her trust, her attention, and her respect. And make no mistake, once a woman gives these signals intentionally, she's no longer just interested. She's emotionally invested in a way that most men will never understand because most men are too busy chasing what she has already freely given. The truth most men never grasp is simple yet devastating if ignored. Women don't give their presence lightly. They don't hand over attention, energy, or subtle trust signals to just anyone. And when she's doing something small, consistent, and intentional for you, she's already opened a door that most men spend their entire lives trying to unlock. She's quietly prioritizing you. She's investing in your emotional alignment. And the moment you recognize it, you're no longer chasing. You're stepping into the arena she's already invited you into. That's the real victory, the one that feels invisible but is far more powerful than any surface level conquest. Think about it. The men who succeed in dating and relationships aren't necessarily the smartest, richest, or most physically impressive. They're the men who notice. They are the men who observe, who feel, who respond to subtle signals with calm confidence and emotional presence. When a woman leans in, when she laughs genuinely, when she shares a thought or remembers a detail about you without prompting, she's not playing a game. She's revealing her internal evaluation, and your response isn't to chase. It's to match her energy, to honor her investment, and to remain steady in a way that reassures her subconscious, you can trust me, I'm aligned, I get it. Most men miss this completely. They overanalyze, they panic, they try to force outcomes with words, gestures, or grandiose effort. And every time they do, they destroy what she's freely offering. Women can sense imbalance, they can feel desperation. And when that happens, the door she was opening closes in an instant. But the man who remains grounded, who mirrors her emotional cues, who gives space while maintaining presence, he doesn't just succeed. He transcends the ordinary game. He steps into the level where alignment, not effort, drives desire, where trust, not manipulation, creates attraction, where calm confidence beats chaos every single time. Here's the final unspoken secret: when she's showing you these signs, she's doing more than signaling attraction. She's testing alignment, emotional intelligence, and your ability to hold space. And if you respond correctly, if you maintain presence, if you honor her energy without chasing it, you've already won something far deeper than interest. You've earned respect, loyalty, and the foundation of real emotional intimacy. And that is the kind of victory no man can fake, no game can replicate, and no strategy can buy. It is earned silently, patiently, and powerfully. So here's what I want you to do right now. Think about the last time she did something small, intentional, or subtle for you. Think about whether you noticed it, whether you honored it, whether you responded with calm confidence, or whether you missed it entirely. I want you to take that moment, that small equation of trust, presence, and attention, and answer it honestly in the comments. Tell me, did you recognize it? Did you act on it? And while you do, remember to like this video, subscribe, and share it with the man who needs to hear this. Because once you understand these hidden truths of female psychology, you'll never look at dating or relationships the same way again. And you'll know exactly when you've already